Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam Stuti series. Today's shloka number 34 of Sri Bhishma Dev Stuti from chapter 9, canto 1. Yudhituragarajo vidhumra vishvak
Yudhituragarajo vidhumra vishvak
Achalulita shamavarya lankritasye
Kachalulita Shramavarya Alankritasye
Mama nishita sharair vibhidyamana
Mama Nishita Sharair Vibhidyamana
Vachivilasat kavachestu Krishna Atma.
Tvachivilasat Kavachestu Krishna Atma.
Straightforward meaning, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Yudhi,
Yudhi,
on the battlefield.
on the battlefield.
Turaga,
Turaga,
horses.
horses.
Rajaha,
Rajaha,
dust.
dust.
Vidhumra,
Vidhumra,
turned an ashen color.
turned an ashen color.
Vishvak,
Vishvak,
waving.
waving.
Kacha,
Kacha,
hair.
hair.
Lulita,
Lulita,
scattered.
scattered.
Ramavari,
Shramavāri,
perspiration.
perspiration.
Alankrita,
Alankrita,
decorated with.
decorated with.
Asye,
Asye,
unto the face.
unto the face.
Mama,
Mama,
mine.
my.
Nishita,
Nishita,
sharp.
sharp.
Sharaihi,
Saraihi,
by the arrows.
by the arrows.
Vibidhyamana,
Vibhidyamana,
pierced by.
pierced by.
Machi,
Tvachi,
in the skin.
in the skin.
Vilasat,
Vilasat,
enjoying pleasure.
enjoying pleasure.
Kavache,
Kavache,
protecting armor.
protecting armor.
Astu,
Astu,
let there be.
let there be.
Krishna,
Krishna,
unto Shri Krishna.
unto Sri Krishna.
Atma,
Atma,
mind.
mind.
Translation. On the battlefield,
On the battlefield,
where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship,
where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship,
the flowing hair of Lord Krishna
the flowing hair of Lord Krishna
turned ashen
turned ashen
due to the dust raised by the hooves of the horses.
due to the dust raised by the hooves of the horses.
And because of his labor,
And because of his labor,
beads of sweat
beads of sweat
wetted his face.
wetted his face.
All these decorations
All these decorations
intensified
intensified
by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows
by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows
were enjoyed by him.
were enjoyed by him.
Let my mind thus go unto Shri Krishna.
Let my mind thus go unto Sri Krishna.
A most beautiful description by Bhishma Dev here. So you can see in the verses that Sri Bhishma Dev is actually meditating on Krishna, meditating on Krishna's physical appearance. And not only is this verse most beautiful, the purport written by Srila Prabhupada is even more beautiful. So this is how pure devotees meditate on the Lord. And you will see in these shlokas that the intimate rasa of the pure devotees with the Lord is actually being revealed to us. So what is Bhishma Dev saying? His arrows are being enjoyed by Krishna. Arrows sent by Bhishma Dev to harm Krishna. But it's being enjoyed by Krishna. So let's look at the purport. Prabhupada writes, the Lord is the absolute form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As such, transcendental loving service to the Lord in one of the 5 principal relations, namely Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. That is neutrality, servitorship, fraternity, parental affection, and conjugal love is graciously accepted by the Lord when offered to the Lord in genuine love and affection. Sri Bhishmadev is a great devotee of the Lord in the relation of servitorship. Thus, his throwing of sharp arrows at the transcendental body of the Lord is as good as the worship of another devotee who throws soft roses upon him. I remember when I read this particular last line, I will read the last line of the first paragraph again, written by Srila Prabhupada. Thus, his throwing of sharp arrows at the transcendental body of the Lord is as good as the worship of another devotee who throws soft roses upon him. How do we understand this profound revelation by Prabhupada to us? If we love somebody, will we be shooting arrows at them? No. Similarly, if we hate somebody, will we be showering them with rose petals? No. Because that's the duality that we experience in this material world. But in the spiritual world, fighting with the Lord and loving the Lord is the same thing. We'll try to use an example that I heard from His Grace Brajabihari Prabhu on how to understand this. How can Bhishma Dev showering arrows onto the Lord be equivalent to Bhishma Dev's mood of loving the Lord in comparison with the gopis perhaps showering the Lord with rose petals? How can they be one and the same? See, in the material world, we experience duality. So if we take a simple example of a train has different compartments. You have third class, unreserved, 2-tier, 3-tier, whatever, 1-tier, AC, etc. The facilities that are available in these different classes is not the same. Certainly, traveling in unreserved compartment is not the same as traveling in a 2-tier AC compartment. We will experience that difference because we are experiencing everything on the bodily platform. But if somebody makes a cake of a train or a cake shaped like a train compartment with the engine and first class and second class and unreserved, whichever piece of the cake that you eat will always be sweet. So in the spiritual world, enemies and friends are the same to the Lord. The Lord enjoys the rasa with both. So this is the unique exchange of rasa between the pure devotee and the Lord, which is very, very hard for us to fathom. So the pure devotee is thinking, how can I make Krishna happy? And how can I make Krishna lose his anxiety, if at all Krishna has any anxiety? How can I make Krishna lose his anxiety? So similarly, all of us know English. So we are attending these English classes. But just because we all know the English alphabets does not mean any one of us can pick up a medical book and understand what is written, even though it is actually in English. So you have to have that qualification to read a medical book. Similarly, we have to have the qualification to actually understand what is happening here between Bhishma Dev and the Lord. Bhishma Dev has lovingly sent his arrows because the Lord wanted to enjoy that virya ras. So even though there were beads of perspiration on the Lord's face and forehead, and even though it seemed that the arrows had pierced the Lord's skin and blood was oozing out, still the Lord was unperturbed, undisturbed. So let's continue with Prabhupada's purport. So you can write down this particular line that Prabhupada writes. that the throwing of the sharp arrows at the transcendental body of the Lord is as good as the worship of another devotee who throws soft roses upon him. The next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, it appears that Bhishma Dev is repenting the actions he committed against the person of the Lord. So, Bhishma Dev is suddenly thinking, what did I do? Why did I throw the arrows at the Lord? Yeah, and extracted blood. But factually, the Lord's body was not at all pained due to his transcendental existence. His body is not matter. Both he himself and his body are complete spiritual identity. Spirit is never pierced, burnt, dried, moistened, etc. This is vividly explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So also it is stated in the Skanda Purana. It is said that spirit is always uncontaminated and indestructible. It cannot be distressed, nor can it be dried up. When Lord Vishnu in his incarnation appears before us, he seems to be like one of the conditioned souls, materially engaged just to bewilder the asuras or the non-believers, who are always alert to kill the Lord, even from the very beginning of his appearance. Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna, and Ravana wanted to kill Rama, because foolishly they were unaware of the fact that the Lord is never killed, for the spirit is never annihilated. Therefore, Bhishma Dev's piercing of the body of Lord Krishna is a sort of bewildering problem for the non-devotee atheist. But those who are devotees or liberated souls are not bewildered. Bhishma Dev appreciated the all-merciful attitude of the Lord because he did not leave Arjuna alone. Although he was disturbed by the sharpened arrows of Bhishma Dev, nor was he reluctant to come before Bhishma's deathbed, even though he was ill-treated by him on the battlefield. Bhishma's repentance and the Lord's merciful attitude are both unique in this picture. Once again, a profound commentary by Prabhupada. What was Bhishma Dev experiencing at that time with the Lord? Even though he felt he was disturbing the Lord by showering him with his arrows and piercing his body, nevertheless, he was observing that the Lord is so merciful, he did not leave his devotee Arjuna alone. Even though he was being disturbed by the sharp arrows of Bhishma Dev. And similarly, Prabhupada says, even though Bhishma Dev was apparently disturbing the Lord did not hold Bhishma Dev's shooting of the arrows against him, because the Lord personally came before Bhishma Dev's deathbed. He was not thinking, hey Bhishma Dev, I am the Lord that is meant to be worshipped, and you are sending arrows my way. How could you do that? I can't grant you my darshan. The Lord is so merciful. That is what Bhishma Dev is recognizing here. Even though he had apparently ill-treated the Lord was there personally before him to give him his darshan. Therefore, Bhishma's repentance for what he had done and the Lord's merciful attitude are being appreciated by Srila Prabhupada here. So, why is Bhishma Dev repenting? I have caused disturbance and anxiety to the Lord. I am shooting arrows at Krishna, but it does not look like Krishna is disturbed at all. Krishna never leaves Arjuna's side. He's always there to protect him. So Bhishma is repenting now, laying on the bed of arrows, not at the time that he shot the arrows. Now as he's taking darshan of the Lord, he's repenting. What did I do? Even if I did that how merciful is the Lord. He's come here personally with the Pandavas. And how were the Pandavas dressed? Krishna explicitly instructs the Pandavas to be dressed luxuriously, as kings, as princes. And they came and arrived on their chariots. So it's interesting, if somebody is about to pass away, you don't go dressed luxuriously. So why did Krishna request the Pandavas to dress luxuriously? To fulfill his devotees' desire to see the Pandavas victorious and ascend the throne. Even in that time, Krishna is so sensitive to his pure devotees' desire. Bhishma Dev wanted to see the Pandavas on the throne. And to see the Pandavas dressed as kings and princes would have pleased Bhishma Dev so much. This is how sensitive and merciful the Lord is. So His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says, Krishna is giving us so much every day. Krishna is tolerant of our neglect of Him every day. As a mundane neophyte devotee, we always want Krishna to reciprocate with us. But His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj asks, are we reciprocating with Krishna's love for us? Because if we are not, then that is our misfortune. But we always want Krishna to reciprocate with us. But Krishna has already showered us with so much love and affection. He's given us so much. Are we reciprocating with Him? Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, a great Acharya and devotee in the humor of conjugal love with the Lord, remarks very saliently in this regard. He says that the wounds created on the body of the Lord by the sharpened arrows of Bhishma Deva were as pleasing to the Lord as the biting of a fiancé who bites the Lord's body directed by a strong sense of sex desire. Such biting by the opposite sex is never taken as a sign of enmity, even if there is a wound on the body. Therefore, the fighting as an exchange of transcendental pleasure between the Lord and his pure devotee Sri Bhishma Dev was not at all mundane. Besides that, since the Lord's body and the Lord are identical, there was no possibility of wounds in the absolute body. The apparent wounds caused by the sharpened arrows are misleading to the common man, but one who has a little absolute knowledge can understand the transcendental exchange in the chivalrous relation. The Lord was perfectly happy with the wounds caused by the sharpened arrows of Bhishma Dev. The word vibidhyamana is significant because the Lord's skin is not different from the Lord. Because our skin is different from our soul, in our case, the word vibidhyamana or being bruised and cut would have been quite suitable. Transcendental bliss is of different varieties, and the variety of activities in the mundane world is but a perverted reflection of transcendental bliss. Because everything in the mundane world is qualitatively mundane. It is full of inebrieties, whereas in the absolute realm, because everything is of the same absolute nature, there are varieties of enjoyment without inebriety. Inebriety means contamination, without contamination. The Lord enjoyed the wounds created by his great devotee Bhishma Dev, and because Bhishma Dev is a devotee in the chivalrous relation, he fixes up his mind on Krishna in that wounded condition. So there is an explanation in the Upanishad about the two birds sitting on a tree. One bird is always in anxiety, and the other bird is always peaceful. it is up to the bird that is always in anxiety to actually turn towards Krishna. So it is the Jivatma's responsibility to turn towards Krishna. But we are also fortunate that the Lord sent us his pure devotees and so many other Vaishnavas to drag us towards him and force us to turn our face towards Krishna. And then the relationship between the Jivatma and the Lord resumes. Here in this particular shloka, Bhishmadev is glorifying the appearance of the Lord and how the Lord is still so merciful in spite of him sending arrows that touched the body of Krishna.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.